the Hermes Light SDR transceiver, that little thing is fantastic. I'm having a lot of fun with that little QRP SDR, and I'm feeding that to a pre-drive amplifier from Crane, a 50 watt amp that drives an Acom 1010 amplifier. And I go to my small compact 2-element beam, and I'm having fun with that. But like I said, up to now, I'm limited to 40 meters, 20, 17, and 15 right now. A little bit of 10 meters, but only have a single dipole on 10 meters. So yeah, a lot of project in the air, but probably maybe next year, tower will be a little bit higher, and I'll be able to fix all the antennas. Sorry for the long transmission, John. Let me see here, the Whiskey Yankee 2 Golf. This is Victor Alpha to Hotel Zulu. Back to you.
Well, not a problem, Claude. Believe it or not, this evening, or this morning, I should say, the bands are pretty bad, at least in the States. They're pretty bad, but we can talk, very nicely, DX, to Europe, and I'm very happy to be able to talk to Canada. By the way, that antenna that you bought, I believe I've seen them before. They have a lot of loading coils and end-heads capacitors, or should I say, the end-heads. And they act as a capacitor decoupling. So it acts like a trap. And isn't that made in Canada also?
Yes, you are right. The manufacturer was called TGM, Tango Golf Mike Communications. But unfortunately, he went out of business this year. In June 2023, the business is now closed, unfortunately. I think it's a fantastic antenna. I mean, it's working quite nice for the size of it. Here, where we are right now, I'm a little bit out of tune here. As you can imagine, it has a very sharp bandwidth on 40 meters. It's tuned to resonate at 7,120. So here, I might be maybe probably 2 to 1. 2.5 to 1 right now. But the Acom amplifier is able to handle that, no problem. I have a little bit of reflected power, about 60 watts, 60 to 90 watts reflected power out of 550. So I know I have a lot of loss, and I understand all of this, as this is a compromised antenna. But I'm very, very satisfied with the antenna up to now. It's rare that I use that call sign. My regular call sign I use is Victor Alpha 2 Charlie Sierra Tango. But yeah, tonight I decided to use my Victor Alpha 2 Hotel Zulu call sign. And if you go to my main page on Curiosat, you're going to see the antenna. And you're right, it's made in Canada. It was made in Canada. And I think I got the last one he had. It's the last antenna he built that I jumped on it, and it's very nice. It's performing very nice for its size.
Oh yeah, I think so. I really think so, Claude. It's doing very well for you. I mean, you still maintain 5.9 to 5.9 plus, you still have a great punch, and that's important. Naturally, using the SDR radio with a 50 watt drive onto the Acom 1010. Remember that 1010 can handle up to 3 to 1. SWR, and it's like a built-in tuner almost. But maybe an external tuner, I should say coupler, might help you up a little bit. But overall, it's doing very nice. You know, like the in-head loading that TGM used, which are capacity heads, and the loading coils. You know, they bring the antenna to resonance. You know, I played around with a lot of antennas, but does not contribute to the radiation pattern of the antenna. So the overall element is the one that's radiating for you, which is kind of interesting. You know, and then there's no far field pattern because of the shape and strength, and leaving only to a degree the radiation of the antenna. So for even a 2-to-1 SWR, the signal is getting out without an issue. The picture you saw, I don't know if you saw the 2018 picture or the 2023. I've been playing with that antenna for 2 years. If you remember COVID, you know, everybody was locked down per se, and I decided, well, I'm not going to go to the business. I'll let the guys do it, and we kept in touch. And at the same time, I played around, and I used these planar spiral inductors, and what they are is a series resonator. It's an asymmetrical assembly, you know, being the coil, and they're attached to the ends of the elements, and that's what makes it resonate on 40 meters. But at the same time, the good thing about it is that it contributes to the radiation pattern compared to the N-head loading, and so it becomes almost like a 5 dB gain antenna, believe it or not. And the elements are only 28 foot, so that's definitely not the 40 meter Yagi. I do have a lot of space up here, but living here on top of the hill, you know, it's almost 1,500 feet up in the air, plus the tower. We get a lot of gusts, a lot of wind. And I thought, well, let me make the antenna as compact as possible, strong, and see how it would survive. And I played around with it for about a year in the winter, and I said, well, let me see what happens. If anything's going to break, it's going to break, right? So nothing broke, everything stood up. I took it down the next year. I reinforced it with some trusses, and there it is. And so far, the antenna's done very well for me, and I'm quite satisfied. A lot of folks have sent me information and requests, so finally I decided I'm gonna put it on my QRZ page and let the folks play around with it and, you know, experiment with it and see what happens. So far, I haven't seen too many antennas that look this way, so that's something that a lot of folks enjoy. VA2HZ, WY2G. By the way, you want me to use Charlie Tango Sierra? I'm sorry, Charlie Sierra Tango or Hotel Zulu?
Whatever, no problem for me. If you want, I can log you. I will log you to either call. I don't mind. It's just I started to contest just for fun, and I realized that Charlie Sierra Tango was difficult for many stations. I don't know, they hear Charlie Sierra Kilo instead of Tango, or the flip letters, you know, pretty much like you did. So that's why I got a shorter call sign. We are able to get 1 2-letter call sign has a second call sign, and this is why I picked up the Victor Alpha 2.0 Zulu. I thought it sounded nice, was easy to say. When I'm not heard, I can say Honolulu Zanzibar, and usually I'm heard this way. So, yeah. But yeah, I will log you to Charlie Sierra Tango. Wow, I scrolled down. No, I hadn't scrolled down to your page. It's quite amazing what you've done there. So you did build that yourself, and tell me if I understood wrong. Your end resonators are installed on the 20-meter dipoles, and it makes that 20-meter dipole resonate also on 40 meter. Did I get that right?
Yeah, VA2HZ WY2G. Well, let's start from the beginning. The antenna it's completely homebrew. All the aluminum was done in what you call literally a CNC, cut through with blades and trimmed and cleaned and drilled. Old stainless steel hardware and balanced. Ordered the 2-inch square aluminum and made some reinforcements in the interior. The aluminum is ordered through a company which I also placed on the QRZ page, and I set everything in pieces, and I put it all together, and then I did the what do you call it, construction in my mind, and then on paper, and then math, and so forth. So it worked out. Like I said, this was a labor of love of 2 years. And then I took the principle of a coil and made it so that it would react as a trap. The 1-inch space between the planar coil gives it a capacitance, and the coil itself is the inductance. And since it's a self-resonating antenna, it blocks at 20 meters, and it looks as a capacitor. But when you operate here on the lower bands of 40 meters, that acts as a loading coil. And that's how it works. I put the explanation of what I found within those 2 years on my computer, and put the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s together, and I tried to make it as comprehensive as possible. VA2HZ WY2G.
Whiskey Yankee 2, go. It's a Victor Alpha 2 Hotel de Zulu. Wow, that's a very nice project you've done there. For sure, I'm going to wrote some notes on the comments when I log your call to my main call, for sure. Wow, that's very nice. And also I like the fact that it's not too big. I mean, it's bigger than mine, and it's probably a lot heavier too. Mine has loading coils and capacitive pads for 40, 20, 17, and 15. And I have 2 single dipoles for 10 and 6 meter, but I think it reacts funny. It's supposed to be a dipole and a director. So when you model this, like in MMANA, you can see that it has a tiny bit more gain compared to a dipole, but it doesn't have a lot of front to back rejection. I think I have like manufacturers that's like 6 or 7 dB. So when I'm turned towards Europe, I have all traffic coming behind me that's very loud from US up to the West Coast. So yeah, that's the only thing I miss is to have a little bit more front to back to be able to isolate a station behind me. It can isolate signals when I'm on the side of the antenna, but from the back it's not very efficient. But my main goal was to get the smallest antenna I could find that did work on 40 meters. But yeah, it comes to the expense of having a very, very short bandwidth. I think usable real bandwidth for me is probably from 7,090 to maybe 138 dB. If I go over that, it's SWR skyrockets. Here I'm okay with the amp, and I've used the amp way over 3 to 1. The 1010 can handle 240 watts of reflected power, imagine. And the bigger ACOM amplifier can handle way higher than that. If you have the ACOM 2000, I think it can handle like 400 or 500 watts of reflective power out of 2000 forward power. So I've run the antenna like at 4 to 1 or even I think 5 to 1. But you know, when you calculate, even though you have 180 watts of reflected power, but still have 500 watts going up, when you subtract both, well, you still have a couple hundred watts going up, and the amplifier takes that like a champ. Nothing scratched, the audio doesn't scratch, everything works. And I've made many contacts way out of tune. And you were right when you were talking about the tuner. I thought about it. I think it would be a good idea to have a remote tuner and have a very short piece of coaxial cable going from the antenna to the tuner that would be installed at the top of the tower. And I think that way I would have a lot less loss. So I've been tinkering about that. But the Primo tuner at the 1500 watts, it's quite expensive. I think MFJ makes one. It seems to have pretty decent reviews on it. But for me here in Canada, it's well over $1,000. So when you count the amount of money for the antenna plus the tuner, when I see a project like yours, I don't think you've mentioned me yet what's the bandwidth on the 40 meter, but it's a very interesting design that you've got there, and my hats to you. Thank God you have some space to test that antenna. I can see one of your antenna, a picture of 2018 with a small post, and that was probably your test setup. Here I have my house siding is aluminum. Have frost fence at the end of my backyard. My shed is metallic, and I have never been able to tune my antenna on the ground. Let's say at 10 feet high, I was never able to tune the antenna. I had to tune the spokes, one of the spokes on each end of all the bends. I had to do this from my roof. And even to that, the antenna reacts with the roof, and I have standard roof shingles. Is that the right term? Shingles? I'm not sure. Sorry, by the way, I'm talking a little bit slow, so sometimes I need to think for my English, so sorry for the lousy English. But yeah, it's been very tough to tune the antenna, and still now I'm not even towards your direction right now. I'm towards Europe right now, and you say you're on the side of my antenna right now, and you're still coming in here at 5.9 plus. So yeah, fantastic project again. You've made there. It's very, very interesting, and you're onto something, I think, because I'm pretty sure there is demand for compact antennas. I know there are very high quality, super expensive HF antennas from European manufacturer. I don't recall the name, but very popular, or American-made antennas too. But they are so big, and I'm pretty sure there is a market for those smaller antennas. Again, I'm sorry, John, for the freaking long transmission. I got carried away. Very nice thing you got there. Whiskey Yankee 2 Golf and Victor Alpha to Hotel Zulu in Montreal, Quebec.
Okay, very good. Victor Alpha 2, Hotel Zulu, Whiskey Yankee to Golf, New York. Well, please don't worry. QSO is a QSO. It doesn't have to be a 5.9. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you later. Sometimes you enjoy a nice QSO, and it's called a conversation. That's the reason why I really don't like FT8. I let my computer do the work, and I'm sitting back having a cup of coffee, and I'm having a 5.9. I don't think that's the context, but that's another story altogether, don't you think, Claude? Well, let me put it this way. There are two active elements on each band, plus 2 plus for 10 and 6, because all of a sudden you have elements that are reacting with each other, and what they call a stagger effect. The gain is 435, approximately what I measured, to 574 dB. The dBi naturally is a bit higher. My bandwidth is 1.5.1 at 500 kilohertz, and a 2 to 1, and over there about 800 kilohertz, and maybe a little bit more. The angular radiation, for what I've seen and measured, we had some equipment here done. It was 20 degrees at 40 feet, 30 feet, and 10 degrees at 60 feet. The front to back was something that we played, and it was very hard. It's between 12 to 15 dB from front to back, and SS, or front to side, 18 dB. Now, the antenna is designed naturally for forward gain, not so much for rejection. I wanted it mostly for forward gain, since most of the time I'm with 100 watts or 400 or 500 watts, depending. My amplifiers go up to 1K and 2K respectively, but I don't use them unless I have to. And when the station comes into me, strong as you are, why should I be pushing 1.5K if you can hear me with 100? That's the idea. The amplifier should be used only when you need it. But by the way, power rating is over 3 kW. And since you don't worry about blowing up anything, and as long as the balun, the 1-to-1 balun is capable of holding power, and I have quite a few of them from design company here in the United States that built it. The impedance is a nominal 50 ohms, up and down between 40 to 50, frequency dependent, and the boom length is 14 feet. The longest element is 28.7, and the whole antenna weight is plus 55 pounds. And that's a little bit higher than what you get from TGM, I'm pretty sure. I put all the specs and all the features and everything on the QRZ page. And, it's a little bit of reading, by the way, Claude. A little bit of reading, but I think you'll enjoy it, the way I see that you're talking. VA28Z, WY2G.
Yeah, I didn't realize your QRZ page was so long. But yeah, it's very nice. Like, do you plan to do something commercially with it, or not at all? I mean, that's great, man, but it would be too big for here. I'm just at the limit. Next door neighbor is like 18 feet away. So for me to have, I think you said 27 feet, I'm going to inspect your page when my eyes are a little bit less tired. 2:22 in the morning here. Oh, I'm pretty sure we're on the same time zone, right? In New York, it's the same time. Yeah, it reminds me. I wanted to have better performance on 10 meter and 6 meter. My last experience with 6 meter was at the end of the 90s and early 2000s. It was an exceptional year, and I had so much fun on 6 meter. I did meteor scatter, and I did aurora contact, and it was fantastic. And I've done that only with 100 watts and a simple 3-element 6 meter antenna. I was fooling around. What I wanted to do was to try to install on the TGM antenna, try to install another 10 meter and 6 meter antenna, but I think it wouldn't work. At least I didn't know how to program MMA to simulate first all the loading coils and capacitive hats, and also I did a test with simple dipole, and the radiation pattern was all messed up. It didn't work, so I started to look around to find an antenna that was covering 10 and 6 meter. And I stumbled across a design I never thought it would work, and I'm not sure, but I think yours is on the same principle. It's an antenna I found on DX Engineering. What's the brand? Man, I have difficulties remembering brands. Anyway, I don't recall the brand, but I can look it out. It's a very small antenna. I think the boom is only 8 feet long. It's 3 elements, 6 meter, and 3 elements, 10 meter.